Saturn return in astrology means that there's a grow up period happening. So you're coming into a test of sorts of, are you living responsibly? Are you actually living according to your soul, your human design, the way you were sort of intended to come in? Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast, where practical spirituality meets real life. Hi, I'm your host, Sheetal Story. I'm a psychic medium, grief support counselor, professional astrologer, and a human design reader, and of course, a law of attraction master coach. With my unique blend of spiritual and practical tools, I am here to help you align with your soul-led purpose and ignite a life that sets your soul on fire. In this podcast, we are going to explore the principles of energy, astrology, spirituality, and psychology to help you heal your grief and create an aligned life and business from the inside out. Whether you are looking to deepen your intuition, understand your cosmic design, or transform your business, this podcast is for you. Join me each week for insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories that will guide you on your journey to living your very best life. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Sheetal Story or wherever you listen to this podcast. Let's dive in and start this transformative journey together. Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast. Happy 2025, y'all. We have made it. The year is 2025. Like, it's kind of crazy to think about. I think it feels more surreal when it's like a rounded out year, like a 25 or a 20 or 30 even. But here we are. And there are 7 major astrological transits for this year that are going to really change the world. And the energy of this year is equivalent to the kind of groundbreaking energy of 2020. Not in the same ways, but very potent for humanity. Now, for you to understand what this means, first of all, you have to understand what astrology is. And astrology just is the forecast or the weather of energy coming onto this planet. We live in a solar system. We are not in isolation. We are in the energetic realm of all energies in this world, really, in this universe. You are an energetic being having a human experience, and the energy that is coming onto this planet changes this planet, changes our evolution, changes us in ways, and opens us up to possibilities, right? So there's always opportunities in this. Nothing is dire, right? So I don't want you to think, even in 2020, that was a very massive year for the planet. And yet there was a lot of opportunities. There was a lot of things that happened that created openings and opportunities for people to come into launching their business. I launched my business, went full time in 2020 because that was when the world needed me the most. And the universe sort of handed me that opportunity and I took it. And there's always opportunities in everything that's happening. So that is why I do this podcast. That's why I do astrology, readings, and forecasts, because I want you to understand that there's opportunities here in this. And when we are in the world of possibilities, we can then use this energy for our highest and best. So we started off the year with a Mars retrograde. So it's aspect number 1. Mars is the planet of motivation, desire, our egoic will to move forward. And he's not in forward momentum, right? He's going slower than the Earth. So we call that retrograde. And when he's going slower than the Earth, it is now a time for us to be reflective, be inward versus outward with our wanting to do and passion and excitement to get on with it. So if you're not feeling like, yay, I want to go and I want to get to the gym and I want to do all these things, congratulations. You are right on time. The energy is not actually presenting for that. Now, if you are feeling like that, you likely are born with a Mars retrograde in your birth chart. So this feels like a coming home for you. So it's a nuanced, right? It's not the same thing affects everyone. The energy is not the same for everyone. When you came onto this planet, when you were born and you took your first breath, the energy that was coming onto this planet encapsulated in your body and became your energetic signature, your vibration. So when the situation, when the environment most mimics that birth energy, you feel at home, right? It's like stepping into a house that looks exactly like your childhood house. You'd be like, oh my God, this feels like home, right? It's the same thing with energy. So if you were born with retrograde planets, when planets go retrograde by transit, meaning in the sky, they're going slower than the earth, then you will feel that and you will feel like you are coming home. Things are opening up for you. So it's really important to have your own, astrology chart reading, because then you can understand this for yourself. But as a collective, we are still under the experience of these energies coming into being, so onto this planet. So if you're feeling like you're not really moving forward, that's okay. And as of June 6th, Mars will move into Cancer, so it's moving back through the zodiac from Leo into Cancer. And Cancer is a sign of home. It's nurturing, inner foundations, emotional security. So Mars doesn't like to be in Cancer. Mars wants to move, right? He loves being in a fire sign. His home sign is Aries, right? Initiating bold, courageous action. Too many C's in the words. Coming together. So when Mars is in Cancer, it's considered a fall position, meaning it doesn't like being there, right? It's not a fan of Cancer. So it's not going to work really well in Cancer, meaning we're not feeling that will to move forward. You might feel the urge to clean out your house. You might feel the need to just stay in and hibernate, which is hard because it's going to be in Cancer until, well, retrograde until February 23rd, and it's going to be in Cancer until April 18th. So this is the longest. It's going to spend 4 months in Cancer. So until about April 18th, when it then moves back into Leo fire sign, that is when we're going to feel like, man, it's time to go, right? And March 20th is when we enter Aries season, which is the astrological new year. And then we're going to be, have more fire and stuff coming in at that point. But Mars, again, is still going to be in Cancer. So we're not just, this is not the year that you're meant to go fast first. That's really what the universe is telling you. This is not a time to go fast first. This is a time to be very introspective, to shore up your foundations so that when it's time to move, you are moving forward on strong foundations, a strong inner knowing of who you are and what you want for yourself. So if you're feeling very introspective, if you're feeling like you're kind of flowing with the energy, you're not initiating, you're not feeling like this giant push to get things going in your life, it's okay, right? But it's more so following your intuition and really tapping into that inner knowing. Second major transit for 2025, this is a big one, is the nodes of the moon are moving into new signs. So the nodes of the moon are about our karmic destiny as a collective and our karmic past. So these are big life lessons that are coming in for us to learn. And whenever the nodes of the moon change into different signs, we tend to get pop culture influences are different. The genres, the things that are kind of pulling the collective are very, very different. So we're going to be moving out of Aries Libra, which is about my power and how am I in a relationship with others, to now into Pisces Virgo. Pisces is about intuition, spirituality, transcendence, creativity. There's kind of that creative spark that comes from your soul. And the word I'm looking for is compassion and empathy, one love, right? That's Pisces. So now the nodes moon moving from Aries, my power, my ideas, entrepreneurship, now moving into intuition, that transcendent spirituality, religion can be put under Pisces as well. And then the south node, which is our opposite, the things that we are releasing, is in Virgo. So we are releasing perfectionism, having to control everything, doing everything the right way, right? So we're moving. This axis of Pisces Virgo is about inviting you to step deeper into your intuition and listening to your inner soul and being okay with the emotions and the information that are coming up from your soul, right? So there's a flow energy with Pisces. Virgo is about details, controlling, discernment, putting the things into action. So when it's in the south node position, it's about the parts of the sign that are harder obstacles or struggles or life lessons. So, Virgo's life lessons, as a Virgo, I can relate to this, is perfectionism, having to do everything a certain way, having to really subscribe to the way that things have been done. We got to do it this way. We've got to follow these procedures. We've got to do it in an orderly fashion, versus Pisces is just following your own intuitive guide, right? It's sort of listening to the meandering path versus the step-by-step path. So this is going to happen on January 11th, 2025, and they're going to stay in these signs until August 18th, 2026. So they stay in a sign for about 18 months, and they don't come back to those signs for 18 years. So it's an 18-year cycle, right? So the last time these signs were, these nodes were in these signs, was June 2006. So June 2006 to December 2007. So it was really interesting. I was doing some homework before I did this podcast to look up these dates, and that was when I became a mother. So interesting. So when, well, 2006 is when I became a mother, September, and my life changed drastically during that time. This part of my chart is very, very sensitive. I have a lot of planets in this area of my chart. So I know between now, January 2025, and August of 2026, there's likely going to be some major shifts in my purpose. We moved cities, I changed jobs, I literally changed careers really at that time. As I became a mother, my son had a lot of health issues, so I had to, my focus really shifted in my life. And it shifted to home, like being home, the home, everything organizing around the home, which is really interesting. So that is the like physical home because of my family and my child, and then changing houses. I was on maternity leave, all that stuff, moving cities, changing jobs, changing careers. Like, it was a massive time of change for me. So I know that this season is going to bring some really big changes. And the ways that I can shore up about that is to make sure financially I'm in a good space. I've given myself time freedom, right? I'm not filling my calendar with a whole bunch of things, and that my family has to be my focus. So my inner foundations, my family. Inner foundations is also like who you feel like you are inside. So putting more attention to that, right? So maybe going on more walks, or getting a gym membership, or going for yoga, something that would really shore up my inner me. So look back for you during 2006, June 2006 to December, sorry, June 2006 to December 2007, and see what was happening for you, because there's going to be themes now that are going to continue from that. So you're not going to have the same experience. You're going to be tasked with, what did you learn? Did you learn the lesson, right? So, next major aspect of this year is a Venus retrograde. Now, Venus doesn't retrograde every year, and she's going to be retrograde from March 1st to April 12th. So March 1st, she's going to retrograde in Aries, and then she's going to move back March 27th to Pisces, which she will then complete that retrograde on the 12th of April. So Venus is about, first of all, about values, the things that we value, beauty, aesthetics, money, right? So anything that you value and your values. In Aries is about self-worth, releasing old patterns, aligning with your values, desires, embodiment, owning your worth, right? And feeling like you don't have to spend money to make you feel worthy. Like, you are worthy. You are inherently worthy. Regardless of what you wear, you are worthy. Regardless of how much money you have in your bank account, you're worthy. So that's Aries energy. And then when Venus moves back into Pisces, there's going to be a feeling of forgiveness, of healing, self-compassion, creativity, surrender, right? This Pisces energy is very bold this year. Pisces energy is literally flowing with energy. It's just flowing with the state of being and knowing that everything that is happening is perfect. So Pisces also rules the shadow. It's the 12th, it rules the 12th house, where we don't show everybody these parts of us because they feel really, intimate, or maybe really like, I keep thinking of the soft underbelly of the crab. It's a place where you can get hurt really easily if people didn't know that you had this wound. And so you could trust people in your inner circle with this wound because you know that they won't hurt you. But if you exposed it to the world, especially social media, there's a lot of trolls on there that could come after you for that. So if I had an issue with my eyes, which I don't, I actually love my eyes, but if I felt like, oh, my eyes are so big and I feel like satellites, if somebody said something about my eyes, it could send me into a spiral. It could send me into a feeling of not enoughness. I'm trying to shore myself up in those areas. So Venus retrograde is going to help you shore up the shadow. It's going to help you own your self-worth, heal it, take it to the very hard parts of yourself that feel hard to love, and bring loving to all those parts. Because what I know for sure as a grief support counselor and someone who coaches a lot of women is that those parts of you are just inner children. They're parts of you that are younger versions of you that never felt worthy or was ashamed or guilty. And when you think of them as little children, you actually have more empathy to that part of you, right? Instead of closing her into the closet and shutting the door and saying, "Don't talk to me." We feel ashamed about this thing that we did in junior high. Let's not talk about it. And when someone talks about it, she feels so ashamed every time that happens. So it could be whatever it is for you, whatever you feel shame with. If it was like being caught sneaking out or making out with somebody in the hallway, or stealing something, or having an affair, whatever it is in your life that you feel shame around, it's a part of you that hasn't healed. She's holding this, or he's holding this for you, this energy, until you can reclaim that part of you. Because nothing you have done in your life is shameful. Shame is a tool of power and manipulation. When we shame people in society, in our families, it's a way to make us feel good about ourselves and to create a hierarchy of judgment so that we know that we're safe and this person is shit, right? Nobody tries to do bad things. Nobody, right? I mean, even like serial killers, when you think about it, they have a disorder or an issue in their brain. And I love watching, serial killer documentaries, because you can, like, I would say 99% of them, you can pinpoint it to an environmental issue of something that they grew up with. Now, did their brain have a predisposition for something sociopathic or psychopathic? Possibly, possibly. Right? I used to work youth court, and I can tell you that there was some really terrible people in this world. And when you started to hear about their past, you realized they weren't born like this. They were created like this, right? So I say 99%, is really environmental. And can we just have compassion for that and understand, we don't want them in society, necessarily, but to shame them or to belittle them, is really just not to see the whole person and to not see the wound behind it. So it's interesting. And whoever you shame or whatever you judge, you are actually, there's a part of you that has judged and shamed. And that's why you do that to others, because you learned somewhere along the way that this is what I have to do to keep myself safe. So something to think about. And Pisces energy is going to bring that all up for us. Yay. Yay, us. All right. Neptune is the next big story here of 2025. And Neptune is going to be moving into Aries. Now, Neptune moves very slowly, hasn't been here for about 160 years, and spends about 14 years in a sign. And Neptune in Aries is going to happen March 30th, 2025 until October 22nd, 2025. And then he's going to dip back into Pisces. So this is how I think the universe is kind to humans, because we get little tastes of the energy and then it goes back into the sign. And little tastes, like Pluto moving into Aquarius, has been a long time coming, right? I mean, he's been dipping out, dipping in for about 3 years, right? So this energy is, we're getting used to it, right? We can't just be thrown into the deep end of the pool. As humans, our brain does not adapt very fast, right? And we like to stay with the old. So Neptune represents connection to the divine. It is Pisces ruling planet. So it is a place of intuition, spirituality, connection to each other, empathy. It is about kind of spiritual flow, like flowing with the energy of the world, of the universe, and it's a very spiritual planet. So it rules in imagination, it's dreams, subconscious, things like that. Now, when it's moving into Aries, Aries is a fire sign, right? So this is about bringing into action your dreams. This is about bringing your personal passions to the forefront. So everything that's been living subconsciously or within you, it's now about embodying that out into the world. And again, it's only going to dip in March 30th to October 22nd. It's a very subtle energy, and it's more so, again, we're going to have, I think this is going to be a really great time for manifestation. I think this is going to be a really cool energy to play with between March 30th and October 22nd, to play with manifestation energy of what I think about, I bring about. This is totally Aries Neptune. So play with that energy during that time and see what happens. It should make things easier for you to make manifest your dreams. And because it's Neptune, it will also bring up for you where you're blocking yourself. So you might even witness that easier, right? Why you can't manifest this thing because it doesn't feel safe with a part of you. All right, Saturn is another change maker this year. And so we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Saturn is number 5 on our list of 7 transits to watch for 2025. So Saturn moves into Aries. Here's another Aries energy. And this is happening May 24th to September 1st. So he's going to dip in just for that short time and then go back into Pisces energy. So this, Saturn and Aries is interesting because Saturn is about legacy, tradition, doing things the tried and true way, responsibility. And Aries is impulsive, right? Aries wants to go. It's initiatory, it's bold, courageous action. It's the entrepreneur. So Saturn wants us to commit, right? Saturn is commitment, legacy, responsibility. And then Aries is inspiration and passion. So we want to have long term commitment and devotion to our instincts, our dreams, our inspiration, that spark of your mission in this lifetime. This is about personal authority, self responsibility, and courage, right? So, courageous action for long term gain. That's literally what Saturn in Aries means. So, we're going to be taking action in between May and September, but there's going to be a laying of foundations of doing this thing right. So if you're embarking on something new, let's say you want to start a new business, or you're creating something new in your life, or a new routine, you're wanting to do it, Saturn, with a really strong foundation, with a really strong commitment, planning, goal setting, all the things, a coach. Like Saturn wants to make sure you're going to win because you're going to do everything the right way, responsible way, long term way, slow way. So I know those people, slow and Aries don't go together, right? Slow, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius do not go together. We don't want to go slow. We want to go fast. So this Saturn is going to make sure that if you're going slow, you're making the right steps, you're creating longevity, you're creating a legacy for yourself. And then Jupiter moves into Cancer. Now, so I should say back to Saturn. Saturn, it moves in 28 and a half to, well, 28 to 30 years to go around the entire zodiac. So it hasn't been here for about 28 to 30 years. And I wanted to actually look this up because if you were born during these dates, then you're going to be experiencing a Saturn return as Saturn comes back into Aries. So this would be October 25th, 1998 to February 28th, 1999. And then April 7th, 1996 to June 9th, 1998. Also, if you're born in 67 to 69, you're likely having a Saturn return as well. And a Saturn return in astrology means that there's a grow up period happening. So you're coming into a test of sorts of, are you living responsibly? Are you actually living according to your soul, your human design, the way you were sort of intended to come in? So it's really interesting because also on my son's birth in September 2026 was my exact Saturn return. And that is was a major grow up for me. Like, I was no longer able to just go to parties and eat. Well, I didn't eat sushi when I was pregnant, but I love sushi. But even then, because he had so many issues and I was breastfeeding, I could not just eat whatever I wanted. So I was now having to be responsible for this baby and everything I was doing for myself, which is really interesting theme that I am hearing in my voice as I say this about. I feel like it's a theme. I just heard Spirit say a theme for a lot of people is that as you take care of yourself, you are then able to take care of the people around you in your home, in your life. So making you the top priority is actually the most important part of all this. So, as we move to Jupiter, which is the sixth major transit of 2025, Jupiter is moving into Cancer. Now, it spends 1 year in each sign. So, is this remarkable? Not really. Been in Cancer 12 years ago. June 9th, 2025 is when he'll move into Cancer. This is about emotional healing. Again, foundations. You hear a lot of themes here, right? It's really interesting. Emotional healing, where our own sacred sanctuary, healing patterns from families and from the past, gifts from our lineage come forward, encouraging connection and intimacy. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and whatever he touches, he expands. So, Cancer is about, again, inner foundations, our intuition, our connections with our females in our families, the roles that we play in our family, um, the home itself as well as Cancer. So when you think about Jupiter expanding these things, now you are thinking of your home in a way that you want to change it, expand it, clean it out, make it bigger, make it more efficient to you, whatever it is that you really love. Jupiter also rules the law, and it's about this sort of doing things. You're very protected wherever Jupiter is in your chart. We call it sort of like a guardian angel. And when Jupiter is in Cancer, there's this real connection to like your intuition, your female lineage, and the glimmers in that lineage that they're helping you. So I was getting this real download with this Cancer in Jupiter energy for June 9th, starting June 9th, and then continuing on to next year as well, is that we're going to be really, I think, supported by the women in our lineage coming forward to help us. You're standing on the shoulders of the people who've come before you, the sacrifices that have been made before you for you to be here doing what you do, listening to this podcast. So those glimmers are going to be shining very brightly this year for you. And then the last transit is Uranus moving into Gemini. So this does not happen very often. Uranus moves through the zodiac in about 86 years. It takes 86 years to go around the astrology or through all of the zodiac signs. And Gemini is an energy of communication, connection, community. There is a lot of ideas, thinking. It's a very cerebral sign. So Uranus is going to dip in to Gemini this year. Again, going to give us a little taste and then step out. So July 7th, 2025 till November 7th, 2026. Sorry, 2025. So July 7th to November 7th, he's going to move into Gemini, and it hasn't been here for about 76 years. So this is interesting breakthrough in technology, innovation, the mind, and learning. So there's going to be, I think there's going to be a lot of breakthroughs, not necessarily between July and November. There could be, but Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, meaning it's genius energy. It's about the mind, intellect. And Uranus rules Aquarius, which is about technology and kind of elevating concepts, innovative kind of innovation. So when now we combine Uranus and Gemini, we have innovation in technology with communication. or our ideas coming to fruition faster and getting them out into the world. Groundbreaking ideas, groundbreaking technologies that help us to communicate, to create more communities. So I really feel like I do feel, and I kind of said this last year, so I'm going to push it again to 20, like, well, I said this about 2025, but I think it's going to happen either this year or next year with regards to a new social media platform. Because you know what? We're ready. We're ready for something else that doesn't push the algorithm, that isn't like, a commercial every other 2 seconds. Like, it's just, yeah, I mean, if you're monetizing, it's great. But if you're like the common lay person, pretty much like me, it's, I really just want to see the things I want to see. And, keep pushing all these things onto me that I'm just like, no, thank you. I don't know why you thought that I would want scrubs. I don't like, I just, it's ridiculous how these commercials are just not really targeted very well sometimes. Even then, I just want to watch my show, just give me the YouTube thing that I'm watching, or give me the podcast thing that I want. I mean, even podcast platforms for the most part are commercial free unless the podcaster has commercials in it and are monetizing it, which no shade to that. But I really do feel like a new platform is on the horizon. And I think there's such a hunger for it after X was purchased and just ran into the ground. And then, Instagram and Facebook and like all of Meta, it just feels like we're really excited for something new to come out. And Uranus likes new things, likes to groundbreaking new technologies to come to the fore. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait. And I also got the other nudge was a new kind of Zoom platform. So not quite like Zoom. I mean, there's Google Meets, there's Zoom. Old day back in the day, it was Skype, right? FaceTime is more personal. So I feel like there's going to be some other platform maybe coming forward that's going to really kind of meet the needs of people in a way that is more affordable, that is available to everyone. I think that's that age of Aquarius with Pluto and Aquarius, is that bringing together platforms and ideas that are available to everyone, not just an elite few. So yay to that. So there is the big energies for 2025 and how you can use them to your benefit. The timings of those, if you stay tuned to the astro forecast, I will be talking on those as they come along. But if you want to plan out your year, or something that just kind of struck a chord with you about, maybe I should look back to 2006, 2007, or, oh my gosh, I'm having a Saturn return this year, something to think about. Because if you're having a Saturn return, your life is going to rearrange to support the next 30 years of your life. So it's a big deal, right? And we'll have about 2 Saturn returns in our life. If you're lucky, you might have a third, depending on how old you get. But it's a major rite of passage to understand life is handing you a big opportunity to restructure, to hold more abundance, So it's not trying to, like, push you into the ground, or, take you down a couple notches. If anything, it is getting you ready to slingshot you into something better. This or something better. Wishing you a wonderful week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Story of Spirit podcast. I hope you have found inspiration, support, and practical insights to help you align with your soul-led purpose and live a life that sets your soul on fire. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us to reach more listeners and continues to provide valuable content. I sincerely appreciate every share, and I know it is how most people find me. It is because caring people like you have shared me with them at the right and perfect time. For more resources, insights, and to connect with our community, please visit us at www.sheetalstory.com and follow us on Instagram at sheetalstory. Remember, your journey to a more aligned and vibrant life is just the beginning, and I am here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, stay aligned, stay inspired, and keep shining your beautiful light. This is Sheetal Story, signing off from the Story of Spirit podcast. Here's the legalese that's required by our lawyers. This podcast and the YouTube channel represents the opinions of Sheetal Story and her guests to the show. The content should not be taken as medical, psychological, or financial advice. This series is informational and entertainment purposes only. Because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional, your mental health dream team, your financial advisor, or anyone else that's an expert in the field in where you are thinking of making big choices in your life.